heard of it.
Okay. So Deagle is a big company, and they forecast and they demonstrate trends. And they came out with a forecast for 2025 in 2020, I think. It was pulled off the internet, but a few people have saved it, and I saved it. And here's what Deagle says is going to happen to a variety of countries in the year 2025.
And this was said in 2020?
I believe the forecast came out, or it might have been 2017. Okay. I would have to confirm when that came out. But I have the PDF. And I have the links, but it's not on their website yet. But I've got it, and so I'll show you. They say in China, in 2025, and this is a comparison from 2017 to 2025. Now, I think they took those statistics in 2018 or 2019 or something, but they use those statistics. And these are 183 countries listed below. And he gives their gross domestic product, their military expenditures, their power purchase in the U.S. dollar, and the population. So he says China, they are going to lose 21,560,000 people in 2025 versus 2017. 21 million.
Now, does that lose as into they are going to go to another country?
He gives the reasons as people going from one country to another and the reduction in birth rates and the reduction in longevity because of viruses and things in this world. He denies it has anything to do with war or an atomic bomb. So he says in 2017, what's that?
So it's like pestilence and...
Yeah, he does say that is going to be part of it. And I've got the report if you want to say. But here's what he says about the United States. In 2017, United States had 326 billion and some change. Next year, we're only going to have 99 million.
From 25.
Mm-hmm.
90.
227 million he forecasted. Now, in his reports, he says the reason is because we grew, because we were a good place to live, but we are losing everything and our society is going bad and people will be leaving, going to better places to live. And right now, we've got about 340 million people. And he says, he predicted back then that we would only have 99,553,100.
But you said right now, we have how many?
340.
Well, in 17, we had 326 million. I would have to find out, but it's more than that now. We've got, I think we're close to 360, 380, somewhere million. But he says in his forecast that we were going to be down to only 99 million. Why? Canada, they're going to lose 9,304,240. So you can imagine when that report came out, and he names every one of the countries, and some of the countries gain people, some countries lose people, and he explains, but I want to read a little bit from his report. No pandemic or nuclear war is included in the forecast. No pandemic. The key element to understanding the process that the USA will enter in the upcoming decade is migration. In the past, especially in the 20th century, the key factor that allowed the USA to rise to its colossus status was immigration, with the benefits of a demographic expansion supporting the expansion, and at the expense of the brain drain from the rest of the world, which benefited the states. I'd say that's true. We benefited from that brain drain. The collapse of the Western financial system, so he's predicting that, will wipe out the standard of living of its population, while ending Ponzi schemes such as the stock exchange and the pension funds. The population will be hit so badly by a full array of bubbles and Ponzi schemes that the migration engine will start to work in reverse. Unfortunately, he probably doesn't know how many people have come to the United States. There's over 30 million new people here in the United States, and nobody can put a number on it, but I can throw out numbers right and left and show you where I got them. People are saying, oh, there's this many and this many and this many. So, but he says, sometime in the next year, we're going to lose, he predicts, 229 million people. Now, I'm not saying this guy knows what he's talking about, but I find it interesting. This is a pretty good report. American standard of living is one of the highest, far more double of the Soviets, while having added a services economy that would be gone along with the financial system. When pensioners see their retirement disappear in front of their eyes and there are no servicing jobs, you can imagine what is going to happen next. That's what he says. At least younger people can migrate. Never in human history were so many elders among the population. In past centuries, people were lucky to get into their 30s or 40s. The American downfall is set to be far worse than the Soviet Union's one. It will be a confluence of crisis with a devastating result. Now, he sends this report, and he says he gets his information from the majority of the economic and demographic data used in the making of the forecast is widely available by institutions such as the CIA, the International Monetary Fund, the United Nations, and the USG. Does anybody know what the USG stands for? United Socialist Agenda? I don't know. USG. Anybody know what that is? You can see the most relevant data at every single country's page. So he's crediting his information from the CIA, the International Monetary Fund, and the United Nations.
Well, that's in our system going to be, they're bringing that digital currency.
Yeah, well, it's coming. So, and here he says, despite the numeric data, there is a quality model which is not a direct translation into numeric data. Now he's going to go back a little bit against his pestilence. Listen here. The 2014 strain of Ebola has a death rate of 50 to 60%. But try to imagine what would happen if there is a pandemic of Ebola with hundreds of thousands of millions infected with the virus. So now he's telling us it could be Ebola. So far, the few cases of Ebola-infected people have enjoyed intensive health care with antiviral and breathing assistance, but above all, with abundant human support by physicians and nurses. In a pandemic scenario, that kind of health care won't be available to the overwhelming number of infected, leading to a dramatic increase of the death rate due to the lack of proper health care. So, though he denied a pandemic, he puts it in his notes as the reasoning why he thinks we're going to lose so many. The death rate could increase to 80-90% in a pandemic scenario. The figure itself is not important. What is relevant is the fact that the scenario can evolve beyond the initial conditions all the way to 90%. And then he says, by the way, no pandemic or nuclear war is included in this forecast.
When did he write this?
I think this was written in 2018, 2017. I can get it. It's let me see. It's a list of countries forecast 2025. Oh, this is June 29th, 2020.
Oh, so
Who's this guy?
So
This isn't a guy. This is a company. If you look them up, they are a massive company. This is a very massive. It's Deagle, DEAGEL.com.
I wonder if if you
You
wrote
actually
this
showed
in
this to
June.
us or gave us the link.
Years ago.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. Yeah. I'm just reminding you. Yes.
and I had forgotten the name of it. I remember this now, but the thing that I did not look for at the time, and the question occurred to me much later, and then I didn't think about it again. Does he show where all those hundreds of millions of people go to? Because he credits migration with making it happen.
There are many places where
Where it's increased. And I haven't done the math to add them up.
But overall, I think he shows a humongous decrease in the surplus population.
Well, let me show you where he does show you increases. And I'll give you some of those increases. So we're going to see an increase in Russia. We're going to...
But that's just
Nope,
because
no, we're
they
going to see a
swallow
decrease.
Ukraine.
So an increase would be in Jordan, Iraq, Sri Lanka, Niger, Mexico, Uganda. He says in Iraq. Doesn't he know that Iraq really gets bombed by God? Sierra Leone, Morocco, Rwanda, Nicaragua, Vietnam, Mongolia, they all have positive numbers.
But they don't have positive numbers to that size.
No, they don't. They do not.
I mean,
You
if
would have
add
to
up all
add
of
them
their
all up
increases-
because I looked on the website and they do, they scratched this report. This isn't on there anymore. But I think when I told you about it, I found it, didn't I? Because I actually found it. And then I showed you and I saved it. And I got it again because somebody came up and he says, hey, I saved it too. And then he posted it again. But this is some things I think I told you guys back in 2020 when we were in the house, 2021. So that's the
Speaking of
Deagle
house.
What's that?
Speaking of the House, one of the bills that they're passing
Yeah.
is to do away with things like the Wayback Machine.
Yeah. They already have done it.
Yeah, they've passed the rule. I don't know if they've done if it's been fully enacted, but basically the ability to go back and grab archived things.
Yeah.
So you post something and then later you say, oh, I'm getting a little pushback on this one, so I'm going to scrub it. The Wayback Machine lets you go back and grab that.
Right, are you talking about
Online.
Yeah, you can't even get there anymore.
And they've dried that up because too many people are going back and saying, no, this is what you said.
Mm-hmm.
So the next move will see the civilization being centered in Asia with Russia and China on top. When the transition from rural areas to large cities happened in Europe, many people, unable to accept the new paradigm, killed themselves. So we hope they will kill themselves next. That's not what he says. They kill themselves by a psychological factor. This is not mainstreaming, but it is. So he's putting in there. Sorry to disappoint many of you with our forecast. It is getting worse and worse every year since the beginning of the pre-crisis in 2007. It is already said that this website is nonprofit, built on spare time, and we provide our information services as is, without further explanations or guarantees. We are not linked to any government in any way, shape, or form. We are not a death or satanic cult or arms dealer or some BS floating around the internet on this topic. Take into account the forecast nothing more than a model, whether flawed or correct. It is not God's word or a magic device that allows to foresee the future. That's how they ended that report. Okay, so here is the report, and I'll throw this first one around so you can see it if you want. This page, and you can just see what the report looks like real quick. And if you want it, please come and let me know after class, and I will send you a copy of the report. For I have captured it and saved it.
I'll go by the Bible report.
The Bible says it, doesn't it? Bible kind of says that too, doesn't it? Bible says 1/4 of the earth.
Fourth and a third.
I don't know, 4, then a third.
Then the whole schmagiggy.
Yeah. I love it when Satan just supports the Bible. Okay. So,
we doing a screw tape tonight?
No, we're not, because we ran out of time. I thought about it and I wanted to. Do you want to? Well, James has enough time to read it. You want to do that? Is that a good enough?
Sure, why not?
James, read it.